This is Rummy's Corner. Last Saturday night at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, in a bout that was televised on Fox pay-per-view, unified IBF WBC welterweight world champion Errol Spence Jr. successfully defended his championship against former two-division world champion Danny Garcia. This was the first bout for Spence this year, and it was also his first fight since being involved in a serious car accident last year. I thought Spence looked great. Spence used his jab to control the action while effectively applying pressure. Spence was doing what Spence does best. It was a workmanlike effort against a tough and durable and talented boxer in Danny Garcia, and Spence did what he needed to do to win comfortably. After 12 rounds of action, Spence was awarded a unanimous decision with two judges scoring it 116 to 112 and the other having it 117 to 111. With the victory, Spence successfully retained his unified IBF WBC championship. So 2 out of the 4 major championship belts currently belong to Errol Spence Jr. The question becomes, is Errol Spence Jr. the best welterweight in the world today? Personally, I think the answer to that question is that he definitely might be. Maybe. The other champions in the division also have a strong case. First, we have the reigning WBO welterweight champion, Terence "Bud" Crawford. Crawford is coming off of an impressive 4th-round stoppage victory last month against former welterweight champion Kell Brook. Then we have the reigning WBA welterweight champion, Manny Pacquiao. The Pac-Man hasn't fought this year, and indeed, he hasn't been seen in action since July of last year. That was when Pacquiao had a turn-back-the-clock type of performance when he defeated Keith Thurman by a 12-round split decision to capture the WBA title. Those are basically the big 3 in contention as the best welterweight today. Errol Spence Jr., Terence "Bud" Crawford, and Manny Pacquiao. But which one of these 3 is the best of the best? That is not an easy question to answer, but let's take a look at how some reputable sources have them ranked. Let's begin with TBRB, the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board. In my opinion, TBRB is the most reliable and unbiased boxing rankings in the world at this moment in time. Not saying their rankings are perfect, they are not, none are. But I think they personally carry the most weight for me at this time. Those not familiar with them should check out their website. With the current welterweight rankings as of this moment, they have Errol Spence Jr. at number 1, Terence "Bud" Crawford at number 2, and Manny Pacquiao at number 3. I think this is a pretty solid list all around, but again, distinguishing between those top 3 is a tricky business in my estimation. Let's check out some other reputable rankings here. Looking at Ring Magazine, they've got the exact same order for the top 3. Number 1 is Spence, number 2 is Crawford, and number 3 is Pacquiao. Again, I think the top 10 here is pretty solid all around, and in fact, it's quite similar across the board to what we had over at TBRB. And then finally, ESPN, they have a slightly different order. They have Terence Crawford in that number 1 spot, then they have Spence Jr. at number 2, and the Pac-Man at number 3. Once again, pretty solid list across the board. And again, we have a lot of overlap here with TBRB and Ring Magazine. So all 3 of these organizations agree on who the top 3 are, the difference being a slightly different ordering. All 3 agree that Pacquiao is number 3 of the bunch, and 2 out of 3 have Spence in the top spot, with the other having Crawford in the top spot. What is the truth of the situation? Honestly, I think it's totally up for grabs. The only way we'll know for certain is if these three outstanding welterweight champions all square off against each other. Between these three welterweight champs, we have three potentially awesome matchups between the best of the best at 147. The way I see it, Pacquiao is clearly the most accomplished in terms of looking at his career. Pac-Man is a living legend in boxing history, and his overall accomplishments are so far ahead of the other two that it is safe to say neither Crawford nor Spence have the time or the potential foes to supersede him on this front. But Pacquiao is older now, and in recent years, aside from his awesome victory against Thurman, Pacquiao hasn't consistently been facing the best of the best at welterweight. But the mere fact that Pacquiao even holds a major world title at his age is a testament to his longevity. Any accomplishments for Pacquiao going forward is just icing on the cake in an already stellar Hall of Fame career. Crawford is the one I believe is the most accomplished boxer in recent years, in an overall sense. In other words, for me, it's clear that Terence Crawford is the best of the bunch in terms of current pound-for-pound talents. Bud is a 3-division world champion, he's undefeated in a total of 15 championship contests, and amazingly, he seems to be showing continued improvement with each new outing. I believe that Crawford has the best overall skill set of the bunch, and I likewise believe that Crawford is the most athletic with the highest ring IQ of the three. That's just my opinion, of course, but that's how I see it. With Spence Jr., I think he is probably the most proven welterweight at this moment in time. Obviously not in an all-time sense or in terms of total career accomplishments. But in recent years, I believe that Spence probably has the best body of work at welterweight. I do not believe he is more talented than Crawford, but at welterweight I tend to give his ledger a slight edge on the whole, although it should be noted that none of this is cut and dry, and just because I see things this way doesn't make me right. I think you can reasonably make a case for any of these three in any order. At the end of the day, the only way we will know for sure is if these three start fighting each other. If any two of these three square off, the winner of that fight would, in my opinion, be elevated to the top. But the winner would still need to ultimately face the odd man out, provided the odd man out continues winning. The situation right now at welterweight is very similar to what we had in the heavyweight division just last year, and for about a solid year before that. We had a situation with Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua, where, the way I saw things, any fight involving any one of those three that wasn't against one of the other three was inherently inferior. Of course, back when I first stated that, it was a few days before Anthony Joshua suffered a shocking upset loss at the hands of Andy Ruiz Jr., proving once again that I don't know shit about boxing. But the heavyweight landscape has since shifted again, and right now, the only fight at heavyweight that truly matters the most is a high-profile showdown between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. I say that with the belief that Joshua will emerge victorious this weekend against Pulev, but perhaps I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. The point here is we need to see these fights at welterweight. Crawford versus Spence, Pacquiao versus Crawford, or Pacquiao versus Spence. If any of these fights can be made next, and I'm not holding my breath, but any of those three matchups will provide the best welterweight championship bout that can conceivably happen at this time. The one I'm personally most interested in seeing is the fight between Crawford and Spence. That one already feels long in the making, but with both of these champions being younger, I think this is the top fight that makes the most sense. I think a fight between Crawford and Spence would be a true 50-50 pick'em fight, and I really hope this one comes together sooner than later. Next, in fact, because right now that fight just makes perfect sense. But that is not to say that I would count Pacquiao out against either of them. You can't do that. Pacquiao might be older and might be far removed from his prime, but he is still Manny Pacquiao. In my mind, Pacquiao is already proven to be one of those rare special fighters whose ring smarts and style have improved and evolved along with his physical deterioration. Pacquiao has evolved in ways that enable him to still compete against the elite, even at an advanced age. Not unlike Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, or even the OG himself, Archie Moore, the old mongoose. With Pacquiao's depth of experience and his incredible will to win, it would be foolish to count the Pac-Man out against Crawford or Spence, even if I'd slightly favor each of them over Pac-Man myself. Slightly being the key word here. Regardless, right now, the welterweight division needs one of these three matchups to come together. And it would be a damn shame if one of them doesn't happen next, because these are the championship fights that boxing fans want at welterweight right now. So who do you think is the best welterweight in the world today? And who do you think would win in matchups involving Spence, Crawford, and Pacquiao? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.